saying a few words about Terez Paylor and how he's so missed. Our sympathy goes to his family, to his fiance. I know many of you were friends with him, colleagues with him. He did a tremendous job covering the Chiefs, and he'll definitely be missed. Beyond that, just commenting on the Chiefs offseason, I think Brett Veach and his team have done a great job of reshaping our offensive line. Obviously, we signed some guys in free agency and then the big Orlando Brown trade. And then drafting Creed yesterday. I think we've taken a lot of steps in shoring up that weakness. We got a good linebacker, Nick Bolton, and we just took a defensive end who should help our pass rush. So Brett's done an all-around good job, and we've still got some picks to go. And with that, I'll open it up.
Let's go first to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Clark. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Hey, last year around this time, you expressed some optimism that you could have camp in St. Joe, and then eventually it didn't happen. A two-part question here. Where are your thoughts right now on camp in St. Joe this summer? And if so, what are some of the logistical challenges that you have to overcome to make it happen?
Yeah, so our hope and our mindset is that we will be in St. Joe for camp this year. That is something that the NFL has still not made a decision on. I know they'll have to have some discussions with the union on the protocols that'll be surrounding camp. So we probably won't know, here for a month plus. But we certainly want to be back up in St. Joe. It's been a great environment for the team. I know Andy and his staff really like being up there and think it's helped us be successful on the field.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi, Clark. Thanks for taking some time with us today. Been thinking about this recently with Brett Veach and the Patrick Mahomes contract press conference. He kind of complimented you on your expertise in cap management and working through that contract. I know that was a very big deal for the franchise. Your involvement with the finance committee of the NFL and just these uncertain times with the cap, how much does your involvement maybe give you an edge when you're talking to your own GM about future plans and cap planning and team building and so on and so forth?
I certainly think there's some benefit to being involved with any of the NFL committees. I think you just become more facile with the subject matter. Certainly on my role on the finance committee and also on the CEC, where we deal with the labor issues and the actual CBA negotiations, I think gives me a little bit of a good background from a knowledge standpoint. Brett and his team are awfully smart, so I'm usually trying to keep up with them, but at least I have a decent background when we're having those discussions.
Let's go next to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, Clark. I don't believe we've talked to you since that night in Tampa, and I'm just wondering how much that loss stung. And until then, it just seemed like everything was on an uptick for the Chiefs over the last several years, and then to get smacked down pretty good that night. What was your reaction to it, and how much did it hurt?
Yeah. Well, I think for everybody with the team, myself included, it hurt quite a bit. As outstanding as the season had been before, when we got to lift the Lombardi Trophy, in a lot of ways, last year up to that point had been even better. The 14-2 regular season record, making it back to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row, playing against a team that we had beaten during the regular season. But it was just one of those evenings where almost nothing went our way. And I know there's been, a lot of analysis in terms of, what went wrong that night. But, was it the offensive line? And, I'm sure that was part of it, but there were just a lot of things. And it was disappointing. And, you have to take from those experiences the motivation that it gives you. And I know our players, Patrick especially, took it hard, and hopefully that will be motivation for them and the entire organization to come back, work harder, focus more, not rest on the laurels of having won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and try to get back there this year.
Let's go next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Clark, thank you for taking time with us today. My question is in regards to some of the social justice follow-ups from last season. Patrick Mahomes had mentioned trying to contribute to Black-owned businesses, Tyrann Mathieu, of course, in the community. I'm just wondering where those conversations have continued throughout the process, throughout the end of last season, into the off season, and what more you guys are trying to plan to do to help out with those particular communities in need.
Yeah. So it remains a big focus for the franchise. We were able to accomplish some things working with the players last year around voter registration and getting Arrowhead turned into a polling station, which was one of the important initiatives to them. You referenced one of the other areas that the players and the organization want to focus, which is making investments or contributions to minority and Black-owned businesses to help get them back on their feet, given the tough year in 2020 and now 2021 that so many businesses have had. When we start getting the players back here in the building in the coming weeks, when Patrick and Tyrann and their teammates are back in, we'll sit down with them and really refocus on that effort. It remains something that we want to stay vigilant with throughout the season and beyond.
Let's go next to Matt and Derek. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Clark, thanks as always for your time. We appreciate it. I'm curious, just as far as, I know it's a little bit ways off, but for the season and as far as capacity for fans attending games, what's kind of your optimistic goal? I know the Royals right now are nearly 50%. Is that a good sign for you that you may be able to get 100% capacity? And related to training camp, would you still be wanting to go to St. Joe if fans could not be in attendance?
Yeah. So I'll start with the second question, which is we still would definitely want to go to St. Joe. It's that good of an experience for the team. I think the team gets a lot out of being together in the dormitories, eating their meals together. I certainly hope that we'll be able to have fans in St. Joe. And then turning to the season, the commissioner has already been on the record and saying that the plan is for us to be at 100% from a league standpoint. Now, there are a lot of hurdles that have to be jumped over between now and then. It will be different in different states, different markets. We'll be working with the health department here in Kansas City to figure out what's safe when we get to the season. The league also will have some discussions with the union in terms of the protocols relating separating fans from the players. So there's a lot of work to be done, but our mindset and mentality right now is we're going to be at 100%.
Looks like we've got two more hands up. We'll go Nick and then Nate. Go ahead, Nick.
Clark, I'm curious for you, with a weekend like this, when you get to make that call to a player to kind of make their dream come true, what's that moment mean to you on a yearly basis?
Yeah, well, the draft is always one of the most special times of year for, I think, everybody who's involved in the National Football League. Your football staff has put tens of thousands of hours into the preparation, and they finally get to see who they're going to be able to add to the team. I think it's exciting for the fans. A lot of fans follow college football. They have their favorite players, and occasionally you'll get some players from local schools, like we did yesterday with somebody from Oklahoma and somebody from Missouri. So I think it's really fun for the fans. I know for the players, they've literally been waiting for that moment their whole life and dreaming about it since they played Pee Wee football. And I don't take for granted, the chance to share with those players that they're about to be a Kansas City Chief. And usually the conversations are really strange because I'll get in about one sentence and then the room they're in with all their family and friends erupts, and they can't hear me and I can't hear them. But anyhow, you can feel the joy and the excitement. And that's one of my favorite parts of the draft every year.
We'll go last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, Clark. Good to see you. You mentioned a little bit the process, and I know you're in the room that leads up to this weekend. But I just wanted to get your perspective of maybe what fans don't realize, that guys like Tim Terry, Mike Berganzi, Ryan Poles, the work that they do to help you guys have success. Just what of that group impresses you, knowing to get them, getting to know them over the course of these last several years, and just what they do to give you guys an opportunity to succeed in the draft?
Yeah. Well, I think most fans see the coaching staff and the importance of having a great head coach and great assistants that teach the players and coach them on Sundays. But that football operations staff that includes your GM and your assistant GM, their college scouts, their pro scouting coordinator, all those people are equally important. And they're really doing the dirty work behind the scenes, especially the scouts who are out on the road. I mean, they spend almost a full year out there driving from school to school, staying in very unglamorous hotels so that they get a chance to evaluate the players on campus, get a chance to test them, get a chance to talk to their coaches, to their teammates, to really find out about them. And that work is absolutely critical. And if you don't have a good team doing that, you're going to make mistakes in the draft. If you make mistakes in the draft, you can maybe survive 1 year, but that will eventually catch up with you. More importantly is that you hit some home runs in the draft and draft guys like Patrick Mahomes, right? Guys who can come in and literally transform your franchise. And so the tens of thousands of hours they spend, I can't speak highly enough of the importance of that to helping an NFL team be successful. And our group has really done that over the last 6 to 8 years.